Hi, hello, how are ya? My name's Ben and welcome back to another video of Off the Beaten Track. Today, I'm going over what it's been like to own a Ford Everest for the past 3 years. Alright, so the reason why I got the Everest roughly about 3 years ago is I was expecting my firstborn child. So I needed a car that was a bit bigger, carry a pram and things in it, a little bit comfier than a Focus ST, and also could go out and adventuring, camping, off-roading, things like that. That's where the Ford Everest came in. Now I will preference this with saying that this is the Ford Everest Titanium. So it is the highest trim level that they had at the time. They didn't have the Sport out at the time. Now, capability-wise and fulfilling my needs, just as a blanket statement, I'm really happy with it. It ticked all those boxes. But obviously, I am going to get into the video in regards to the pros and cons and the nitty-gritty of it. So what initially attracted me to the Ford Everest was not only the fact that it was a four-wheel drive, but also the fact that it was a good-looking four-wheel drive. A lot of four-wheel drives these days don't look great inside and out. I like the fact that it had the visual appeal on the outside, but also matched on the inside, which we will get to later on in the video. Another thing that attracted me to the Everest was the fact that I didn't want a ute. I didn't want all my stuff exposed to elements, and that's why I went with the wagon. Now, storage-wise in the back of the Everest, the electric tailgate is a big plus, but as you can see, quite a lot of storage. Now I do have a fridge in there at the moment and got a storage box for my off-roading gear, but when that stuff's out, enough to, you know, get all your groceries in, get the pram in, like I said before, chuck the dog in there if we're taking him out for the day, but again, not exposed to the elements like a ute tray would be. Now, a big plus for the 2016 Ford Everest, which is the one that I have, is it still has a 3.2 litre 5-cylinder motor in it. Lots of power in it. They did use it in the Rangers. They even used it in some BT50s as well. So heaps of power if I ever wanted to get a caravan or anything like that, or needed to take something to the tip. And durable. It doesn't have the issues that the later models do with the 10-speed transmission. So yeah, that's another big plus for the 2016 Ford Everest. Now I have done some slight modifications to this vehicle, nothing crazy, mainly visual things that are going to aid me off-roading and stuff like that. First one that you're going to see is I did put the Ford Raptor grille on it. Wasn't a big fan of the factory grille that came on it, thought these looked super aggressive. So that was pretty much the first thing I did. Also, what you'll notice is there is a nudge bar and spotties on there. You would have seen that in a previous video on this channel. Basically, this nudge bar is actually off an Everest model called a base camp, where it came with a nudge bar, a snorkel, and a roof rack. So this is actually a factory Ford nudge bar, which is great, bolted on, nice and easy. If you want to follow me as well, like I said, we put a snorkel on it. Now this isn't the Ford genuine one, but it is a replica of the one that actually comes on the base camp. So went on to the factory vent sides there, which was very easy. Just had to mount it up the top there, and it looks the part. Now another modification I did, which is again a Ford factory one, is I chucked the rims and wheels off a next gen Ranger Wild Track. The reason why I did that is the rims that come on the Titanium are actually 20s, which aren't very good for off-roading. So needed more sidewall, wanted a lower profile, went down to these 18s, and it actually come with all terrains on it as well. Ideally in the future I would like to go a wider tyre, but for a literally straight swap, they're doing really well. Another small modification that we did is the Titanium comes with chrome everywhere. I hate chrome, it's not the 2000s anymore. So painted the mirrors, the handles, even the front and rear bumper inserts. They're a little dinged up at the moment, so we've got to touch them up. But alas, that's fine. Let's head inside. All right, so as I said before, the inside is nice as well as the outside. A lot of four-wheel drives these days, a tradie spec on the inside, but as you can see, this is not. It's not only a titanium, you know, top trim level thing, but also all Everests are fairly nice and modern on the inside. The Titanium, however, does have the color matched panel here with Everest. You do have, you know, leather everywhere. You've got seat warmers and things, not that we need those in Australia much. But yeah, the inside is really, really nice, and that was a big thing that was missing from a lot of the four-wheel drives that I was looking at. Now, onto the accessories, or rather the capability of off-roading that actually comes installed in this vehicle from stock. Come down here, you'll see Ford actually does what you call a terrain management mode. So you've got these 4 modes, just standard, then you've got snow and grass, I don't know when we would ever use snow in Australia, sand, and then rock climb. Downhill descent's great, but also rear locker, which is a huge one, as well as 4x4 low. Now this car is in 4-wheel drive all the time, so it's in what you would call 4 high. You can't actually swap it to 2, unlike the Ranger. Terrain management modes are fantastic for people that don't know how to off-road, haven't done it, like I did when I first got this car. I find I don't use them much anymore. I mainly just use the standard mode and the rock climbing mode, and of course, the rear locker and the 4 low. But it is really handy, and Ford did really well, making it simple for people that are like, hey, I want to go have some fun over the weekend. Let me swap it into sand mode or rock mode, because that's what I'm doing. Now onto the cons of the vehicle. I will admit there's not a lot, but one big one actually resides here underneath the bonnet, which is an EGR. And in layman's terms, it's just an eco emissions component that they've attached to diesels, not just Everest, but most modern diesels. Basically, it recycles unburnt gas back through the motor. That gets all clogged up, and the little wastegate for it stops working. If that stops working, things go wrong with the car. So I luckily haven't had too many issues. It has got gunked up once, but it has fixed itself. But it is something you do need to look at when you are looking at a modern diesel. Not only do they have EGRs, but this actually has a DPF, which again, most diesels have, but also an AdBlue system, which has come from most European car companies. Now, DPF, most people know how it works. It does a burn off to get rid of all those extra emissions. The AdBlue actually squirts into the exhaust to keep it all clean. AdBlue is not too much of an issue. It is a bit of a pain, and if you follow me around here, you do have to fill it up. You'll actually see all this white residue. I filled it up yesterday. Now it is only every 3 months, I would say, depending how much you're driving it, and it is fairly cheap, but it is a bit of a hassle for some people. You can delete them. It's frowned upon and probably not legal. I'm going to keep mine in here because, again, it is just cleaning the exhaust and kind of keeping the DPF clean. But the big issue is the EGR. Solution for that, either EGR delete, again, frowned upon, or get an oil catch can, regularly get it cleaned, and yeah, just try and avoid any issues with it. Now, the second con that I've found with this vehicle while taking it off-roading and camping and things like that is both the approach angle at the front and also the ground clearance. It has okay ground clearance, but if you're doing anything, intermediate to what they would call like a black track, I would say, you are probably going to have some impacts on the bottom. Big fix for that is actually a bash plate, which I have done a video for. I will pop that up on the screen, and you could maybe see it from the angle we've got at the moment. That will alleviate most of the issues, as well as obviously a lift. Lifts are pretty expensive though, so definitely chuck a bash plate on it when you first get the vehicle if you're looking at taking it off-roading. And like I said, the approach angle. When I put this nudge bar on here, I greatly reduced the approach angle on the front. So that's why you'll see my license plate is very dinged up. It constantly bends down and then back up. That's something that only a lift is going to alleviate, which again, an expensive thing, not everybody can do it. So it is a con, but it isn't, because you need to expect that these vehicles aren't going to be trophy trucks, off the showroom floor. So yeah, there's the few cons with the vehicle. All right guys, that is going to wrap us up for that video. I hope for anybody that is thinking about getting an Everest, this cleared up some things. You can see the pros and cons for it. Like I've mentioned in the video, there's not a lot of cons. This car has done everything that I've absolutely wanted it to do, and even more. Got a few tasty mods planned for it in the future as well. I want to give a big shout out to Corey from All Drive Adventures for helping me film this. Check out his channel because there's actually some exciting things coming real soon on there. And yeah, leave a like, subscribe, and I will definitely see you guys in the next one. As always, my name's Ben. This is Off the Beaten Track, and we'll see you in the next one.